Hey guys, what's going on? Rob here with GRBM, and today we're talking the best restaurant insurance here in New York. Now, when it comes to restaurant insurance, we'd like to give you a whole menu of options, but at the end of the day, there's really two carriers that are the best throughout the state of New York. And we break that down by downstate restaurants, which include New York City, the 5 boroughs, Westchester, etc., and then upstate restaurants, which is anything north of Westchester, so Putnam, Dutchess, and beyond. I mean, we work with restaurants all the way up, Albany, Buffalo, etc. There's no place in New York that's going to be too far for us to help you. So without further delay, let's get to those two companies. So when it comes to downstate New York restaurants, we're just going to go ahead and say 5 boroughs restaurants. For any restaurant in the 5 boroughs of New York, the best option is with Utica First. Now, Utica First doesn't just offer general liability. Utica First also has property coverage. They package all of this together on what's called a BOP, or Business Owner Policy. Now, you can also get cyber coverage in there, a little bit of EPLI, but we should really probably talk about that in a whole nother video. But at the end of the day, Utica First offers a great policy, excellent value for New York City restaurants. So why do we recommend Utica First? Well, there's a number of reasons. Number one, no audits. Now, if you've been in the business a while, you know that audits can be extremely painful, frustrating, and expensive. But with Utica First, they rate their policies on the public square footage of your restaurant. So that's not going to change. At the end of the year, no audit. I will say it's not all sunshine and roses with Utica First. There is one downside, but it's really not that big of a downside. They are very strict on inspections. So when you take out a policy with Utica First, a representative of Utica First will come out and walk through your restaurant, take pictures of everything, make sure your hood system is up to date, everything is clean, there's nothing out of code, etc. So that is kind of a downside, but it's also kind of a positive, because you can look at that as a service where they're going to come through, they're going to check out your restaurant and make sure everything is up to snuff. So who's this Utica First that's coming into your restaurant to check everything out? Well, Utica First is a great company based out of Utica, New York, founded in the early 1900s. Utica has been providing restaurant insurance for almost the entire time of their existence. They really know what they're doing, they're priced competitively, and when a claim happens, they provide great claim service. That wraps it up for Utica First and New York City restaurants, so we're going to head on upstate. Upstate New York is kind of a totally different world. And for that totally different world, we recommend Erie and Niagara Insurance. Now, not to be confused with another company of a very similar name, but Erie and Niagara, I'm just going to use E&N for short, is a great, small, local company that only operates in upstate New York. One of the big reasons that we like to recommend Erie and Niagara is once again for the lack of audit. At the end of the year, the last thing you want is a big bill from your insurance company because you had a good year. So instead of paying the insurance company, you can pay yourself and take a bonus. Now, also like Utica First, Erie is pretty strict when it comes to doing an inspection on every single restaurant. But once again, you really shouldn't look at this as a downside, as what you're having is an outside party come through, walk through your restaurant, and notice those things that you might have overlooked. It's not your fault, but when you see it every day, you might not notice that the fire extinguisher is out of date, or your hood and duct system needs to be cleaned. All that to say, they're going to come out and do an inspection. They're probably going to give you a few recommendations, but you really shouldn't look at that as a negative. It's going to make your business safer, better, and who can complain about that? Erie and Niagara has been around since the late 1800s. It was initially started by a group of farmers to provide insurance for their farms. Now, what they realized was by sticking to a small geographic area, upstate New York, they've been able to expand into different industries, and restaurant is by far their #1 industry. What that means is they know how to price it more accurately than anybody else. They still are able to make a profit, so that means your renewal rates stay flat, and when it comes claim time, they are there for you. So with Erie and Niagara, you can really trust that your business is in good hands, and you're going to continue to get the same great service and rate year after year. So who's GRBM and what makes us qualified to make recommendations on restaurant insurance? Well, at GRBM, we like to say we offer white linen service at Golden Arch pricing. In addition to that, we are also the endorsed provider for the Pan-Gregorian Association of New York. Now, the Pan-Gregorian is a group of restaurants, approximately 1,600, that have chosen GRBM as their preferred vendor. Now, the reason Pan-Gregorian chose to partner with GRBM as their preferred vendor has to do with my father, Gary McCarthy, who founded GRBM in 1986. Now, Gary has been working with the restaurant industry forever. In fact, his parents even owned a diner here in Brewster, New York. Because of Gary's deep ties to the restaurant industry, we were able to prove to Pan Gregorian that we were the best option for their member diners and restaurants. Now, that being said, you do not have to be part of Pan Gregorian to work with GRBM, and we will still provide you excellent service. If you're interested in speaking to one of our agents about restaurant insurance, feel free to give us a call or hit the contact form below. Thanks, guys. Take it easy.